Monday morning, friends report the entire Powell family missing. Monday afternoon, Josh Powell returns home with his 2 boys, but not his wife.
At this point, the facts just don't add up to say what might have happened the night of December 6th.
Cops have a lot of questions for Josh Powell, and friends are now sharing some disturbing details about the family.
Susan's friends are also opening up, saying she was afraid of Josh. She feared that he would kidnap the kids if she left him. She even drafted a living will. If their marriage didn't turn around by their anniversary, which is this spring, she would divorce her husband.
Josh Powell was born on January 20th, 1976, to Stephen and Terry Powell.
Josh Powell attended the Mormon church at a young age. He was said to be bright and intelligent. Stephen Powell would leave the church and become vocal against the Mormon faith,
and told Josh that the church was a fraud and that, quote, all humans are animals and they should be allowed to have sex with whoever or whatever they wanted, end quote. Stephen also began to have fantasies about married women. When his wife confronted him, he gave her the impression that Steve might do something to make his fantasy a reality. In Josh's younger days, he had tried to start a relationship with Suzanne's older sister Mary. Suzanne was 12 at the time. Now an adult, Suzanne and Josh met at an LDS service called Institute. Josh would eventually begin dating Suzanne Cox. Josh wanted to get married to Suzanne very quickly. While they were filling out their marriage application, they were fighting the entire time. The signs were there. As soon as their marriage was legal, Josh changed. Josh was constantly late. He did what he wanted, when he wanted to do it.
For years, Steve Powell lived with a camcorder in his hand, videotaping important events. Weddings, graduations.
In 2002, Suzanne and Josh were evicted and forced to live back with Steve. This is where Steve developed an unhealthy fascination with his son's wife. Steve constantly filmed her. Suzanne caught Steve trying to watch her undress at one point. Steve claimed she would come on to him. These claims were exaggerated. Steve's fascination turned into obsession, filming her any chance he could get. He would steal her panties and would watch her from underneath the door. Steve became a sexual predator. Josh became a truck driver, which would take him away from Suzanne for long periods of time. Steve confessed his feelings for Suzanne after Suzanne accepted a ride from Steve to her mother's. Steve thought he turned the camera off, but it turned out that he didn't. Steve told her that she was all he could think about. She rejected his advances. Suzanne told Josh and Steve would go on the defensive, convincing his son that there was nothing to worry about.
It was definitely a romantic obsession, yeah. I mean, Susan's a beautiful woman, and when a beautiful woman comes on to you like that, it's really hard to resist that kind of a thing. I mean, maybe it's just me.
Susan and Josh would eventually get their own place. When they left behind a storage unit. Stephen helped himself to it. There he found Susan's diary. He was angry when he discovered that there was nothing about him written in them.
Susan writes a letter addressed to family and friends, warning them of Josh. In the letter, Susan says, quote, Josh threatened to destroy her if she filed for divorce. She then says that if she dies, quote, it may not be an accident even if it may look like one, unquote. The letter was kept in Susan's safe deposit box, which only she had access to. Tuesday, July 29th, 2008, 12:33 p.m., Susan Cox Powell records this video of herself documenting her family's assets.
Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented.
Sunday, December 6th, 2009, 12 p.m., Susan Cox Powell takes her two sons, Charlie and Braden, to services at her local ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, afternoon to 5 p.m. A neighbor visits Susan and leaves at approximately 5 p.m. as Susan lies down for a nap.
This was the last time anyone would ever see Susan again.
2:29 p.m. Susan calls a friend from her cell phone. This is the last call she made or received on her phone. 5 p.m. Josh Powell says he is taking Charlie and Braden sledding. A neighbor heard a car alarm coming from inside the Powell's closed garage. Monday, December 7th, 2009, 12 to 12:30 a.m. Josh Powell says he left home with Charlie and Braden to go camping at Simpson Springs Campground in a remote area of Utah's West Desert. During this time, he claimed Susan was at home asleep after cleaning a red stain from the carpet. The campground is about a 2-hour drive from Rest Valley City. Temperatures were below freezing that night. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The daycare provider for Charlie and Braden contacts Josh Powell's mother, Terica, and his sister, Jennifer Graves, concerned that she could not reach either parent after they failed to drop off their sons. Terica and Jennifer call the police, who break into the Powell home worried that the family may be victim of carbon monoxide poisoning. Police find 2 box fans blowing on a wet spot on the carpet. Susan does not show up to work, and she is reported as missing. 5 p.m. Josh Powell returns home with Charlie and Braden and is greeted by the police, who find that he had Susan's cell phone in his van with the SIM card removed. Police also find a generator, blankets, a gas canister, tarps, and a shovel. Josh was unable to explain why he had Susan's phone or why the SIM was taken out. Josh was immediately taken to the West Valley City Police Department to be questioned. Note: Powell was never arrested in the case, despite the long-held belief by many that he murdered Susan and covered it up, possibly with the help of his father Stephen and his brother Michael. All 3 are now dead.
It was Michael's car, however, that left police with the most unanswered questions.
I owned a 1997 Ford Taurus.
That's the car Michael and his sister Alina drove from Washington to Utah, but it didn't get them home.
On December 23rd, 2009, 2 days before Christmas and about 2 weeks after Susan disappeared, Josh Powell's brother, Michael, sold his car to this salvage lot in Pendleton, Oregon for about $100.
The car had actually broken down in Baker City. Michael and Alina called AAA for help, and despite there being 4 wrecking yards and repair shops within 3 miles, the pair insisted the car be towed nearly 100 miles away to Pendleton. Police wouldn't find out about the Taurus for another 21 months.
Detectives wanted that car. They actually came up here with a flatbed trailer and pulled it out of the yard. It was missing a few pieces, but largely still intact.
What happened to Susan? Was there foul play? The story will continue in another video.